Hi, Varsha. How are you?
Hi, Siddharth. I'm good, thanks. And you?
Likewise, it's great to catch up with you. It's been a little while. So, my first question to you, like, what's been happening since the last time we've actually chatted?
I feel like it's ages, right? Feels like it was years ago that I've chatted. It's actually been a
Wow.
pretty busy 2025 on my side. And how about you?
It's been same old, still doing pods, still trying to chat to new people, get the audiences to know about new personalities. But then you always go back to people such as yourself because I always like to know what they've been up to.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate you having me on your podcast. It's always nice to have a platform to share and talk about different things. So I do hope more people come on as well because you're also such a pleasant host. So it'll be great to have a conversation.
Yeah, but no, but like what has been mainly happening since the last time we've chatted in general? Like, yeah.
So I always say the first 3 or 4 months of the year always seem to feel like a year in itself, and I think lots of people have felt that way. There's been a lot of self-reflection, a lot of me figuring out what it is I really want to do or specialize in or work with. So just a lot of planning and creating a foundation for where I want to go for the rest of 2025. So it's been a lot of studying, a lot of research, some interesting things happening, some good, some bad, some epiphanies. But it's been quite a busy first few months of the year, just mostly on the reflection side of things and creating the foundation for the business and where I want to go, not just for 2025 actually, but for a good couple of years, I hope.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about how yoga is different for chronic illnesses and autoimmune disorders?
So that is one of the things that I chatted to you briefly about on WhatsApp. I
Mm-hmm.
am specializing. So I work with individuals who have
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune and chronic illnesses. So autoimmune illnesses are things like your lupus, your rheumatoid arthritis. They're basically illnesses where your body is fighting itself. And it just happens. Sometimes it's a genetic thing where it's passed down in the family. Sometimes for some people, it's the first time they've heard of some of these illnesses. They might be the first one in the lineage to actually get something. And chronic
Mm-hmm.
illnesses are things like your fibromyalgia, chronic migraines. You might have chronic backache or spinal pain, depending on just what you do, where you are, what your days and your weeks are like. So I see a lot of individuals who actually can't do your normal hatha and vinyasa. They don't really enjoy the hot or the Bikram yoga, depending what you like to call it. Um, Physically for them, those type of yogas, even to some extent Pilates and all your gym classes, which are great for your average person, but these are individuals whose bodies struggle with that type of exercise or that type of movement. So I use a lot of yin and restorative yoga, where we use a lot of support mechanisms, things like blocks, straps, cushions, bolsters, various different tools to help ease the body into a more restorative space. Um, Yoga for autoimmune and chronic illnesses. And again, it depends on the individual because I know some people who have lupus and fibromyalgia, for example, who love being active. They play tennis, they play paddle, they are constantly on the go. And then I know some people who are almost bedridden with their illnesses. So they find it very difficult to just get out
Mm-hmm.
of bed and sit down. And again, when you have autoimmune and chronic illnesses, you know you have good days and bad days. And whenever you're doing yoga, you also have good days and bad days. Sometimes you get on the mat and you are really flexible, and other days it's actually quite difficult to get into some of those poses. So I specialize specifically in that, and I'm working with a lot of individuals who have autoimmune and chronic illnesses. It's a passion for me,
Mm-hmm.
but also something I am deeply interested in. Doing a lot of research, a lot more studying on it. Um, so for me, that's kind of where I want to make my mark yoga wise.
How do your yoga classes for mental health work?
Okay, so the mental health is something not necessarily new. I think since
Mm-hmm.
COVID in 2020, a lot of people are a lot more self-aware, and a lot more
Mm-hmm.
individuals have had either, I don't want to call it mental breakdowns, but let's just
Mm-hmm.
say they're burnt out or they're really feeling things, right?
Mm.
So the yoga for mental health is, again, it's yin, it's a bit of restorative. There's a lot more breath work involved in it. There's a lot more meditations,
Mm-hmm.
guided breath work sessions, and that's to help with the heart rate, blood pressure, but also give you something you can go home with, because these are exercises you can actually do on a daily basis, morning, in the office, in the afternoons, in the evenings. So the yoga for mental health is a space where individuals who might be highly anxious, they might have depression, they might have social anxiety, they might have anger issues. Everybody's got something different that they're dealing with. But individuals who are struggling and wanting something a little bit more natural to coincide with their
Mm-hmm.
therapy, they will be hopefully coming through for that particular type of yoga. I've got a few people who do private sessions with me. So what we do is we basically tailor make it to
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that they're experiencing. So that's, again, another passion of mine, is to be able to create something special for an individual that really makes an impact on them.
When you mentioned trauma earlier, could you tell us what classifies as trauma?
So, trauma sensitive, trauma informed yoga is also another specialization. So, I'm studying towards my certification in that. Trauma can actually be anything to anyone. You can have
Mm-hmm.
ancestral trauma. We live in South Africa, so anything that includes like hijacking, burglary, um, smash and grab. There we go. That's what I'm thinking of. Smash and grabs. We live in a space where we are already highly alert, highly
Mm-hmm.
anxious. And trauma informed, the
Mm-hmm.
trauma sensitive yoga is specifically for individuals who have gone through trauma. And trauma is not necessarily just the violent aspects or the legal aspects, things like what I've just mentioned, but trauma can be many things to many different people.
Okay. All right. My final question to you would be like, will you be focusing on anything else over the next few weeks?
So there is the trauma informed yoga that I was talking to you about. So, like I said, it's the ancestral trauma. Trauma can
Mm-hmm.
also be things like retrenchment, divorce, breakups. Listen, if you are born in the 90s or the 2000s or like the 80s, breakups are a thing. So, any form of trauma for an individual, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be focusing on that. So, that's going to be starting in a couple of weeks. As I mentioned, it's the yoga for mental health, yoga for autoimmune and chronic illnesses. The exciting part is that I am going to be working at a therapy center up here in Joburg. It's called Tabula Rasa. So I will have a dedicated yogic space there, which is going to be awesome. So it's going to have a combination of the energy from all the psychologists, psychiatrists, the individuals working there already from a mental health perspective. So, already working on the counseling and the psychological aspect of things, and I'll be working on the physical as the yoga specialist. So, very excited for that. That's coming up. And then hopefully, we'll be certified in the next few weeks as a trauma informed yoga therapist or trauma informed yoga facilitator. They have different names for it. So those are the two big things. So the yoga classes will be starting in May, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will take it from there. So there is quite a bit happening. And I'm hoping that there will be quite a bit happening in that space too. We'll be doing some workshops, some 6-week sessions, lots of different things for different people. So hopefully we'll have quite a few Joe Burgers coming up and joining us for some of our classes. And there'll be small dedicated classes, which I love. So not more than 6 people. And then I'll be doing my one-on-ones again, which is quite exciting because I've already got some clients. I'm
Mm-hmm.
officially opening myself up to getting more clients to come through on a one-on-one basis. Previously, all my slots were filled. So I'm just changing my timetable around. As I said, lots of self-reflection, the beginning of 2025. So a lot more space and time physically to also be able to practice the yoga and have more clients coming through.
Okay. Well, I got to say that thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to continue to being in touch with you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Siddharth.
Welcome.